And I had seen, you know, Wes Watson's Instagram. I'd been following him for a little while. I wasn't really listening to any of his stuff, his motivational stuff that people use, but I was seeing his client transformations, you know, like people coming through his fitness program and getting all jacked and ripped and stuff. And I actually met him for the first time, was at his first mastermind at his place in San Diego, because he started doing those monthly masterminds, and I just immediately saw like value in that. You know, I'm like, okay, if I can get around this guy, if I can spend time with him, learn some more stuff from him, like that seems extremely valuable to me. I want in. And I like messaged him and I'm like, I want in. And he's like, it's 10K a person. And I'm like, holy fuck.
Press the Flex Podcast Tour, the Hassle of Hair Podcast, episode number 2, Brad, Reliant Fitness. Before we start the episode, I want to thank my sponsors. Without them, this traveling, interviewing people down in SoCal would not be possible. Thank you, McKim Corporation, Santa Cruz County Life, Pasta 209, La Gloria Restaurants and Desserts, and Castros Pool Service and Repair. Without you guys, this wouldn't even be a thought. Thank you guys. Listeners, fellow watchers of the Hassle of Hair Podcast, if you guys enjoy the episode, if you guys enjoy the content that's coming out, take a second out of your day and hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way. I appreciate you guys. Hit that subscribe button now. If you guys are listening to audio on audio platforms, put a review on Spotify, put a review on Apple Podcast, and subscribe if you're able to subscribe on your audio platform. I appreciate you guys. Stay tuned for more content. The follow-up recap episodes of my trip are coming out soon. I appreciate you guys. Stay on the lookout for that. And how I met Faceless, how I spent 2 days with them, how I worked out with Brad on this episode, and so much more, guys. I love you guys. Enjoy the episode. Brad, Reliant Fitness.
I have a habit of watching my stories. Is that that's an addiction, right? Or do you think,
No,
because we're both in this, you have a lot more following, but
I do it
check.
for a couple different reasons. I mean, I like to have a certain flow about my page. So like if I'm going to post something new, I usually kind of make sure it ties in some way, somehow with what I did before. And also too, I always see who's like, if I'm getting new people across like the likes, the interactions, and then like try to jam them up for training of some sort. Because basically everybody's a potential customer at some point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's a big part of it too. Try to see if there's any trends with like new people coming in on certain types of stuff that I put out there.
yeah, it's your job.
Yeah.
Is that weird to say? Like, that's your job?
In a weird way, yeah, it is. It's weird, but I mean, I don't know. Like, it is very much my job now. I mean, that's fucking my job, is basically promoting my brand, my company through social media platforms and delivering a service to people who contact me through social media. You know what I mean? That's 100% how I drive my business. I don't run ads. I don't do lead services. You know, it's all 100% content based, like, which is crazy because there's like no overhead.
Yeah.
Which is the most amazing thing ever. Because you talk to like all these guys that run these big ass companies making millions of dollars a year, but their actual profit margin is like very small. You know, and then you got a couple of guys in this fitness game, and they're like, oh yeah, I did like, you know, $250,000 in a couple of months, or I did, you know, $5 million this year, and my overhead is like this much, like literally nothing.
Yeah.
It's like 99.7% profit if you're running it in that manner, you know.
Before we really get started, put it on your right side. I've noticed that everybody has like a dominant side they talk to. It's weird. Some things I just pick up and like over time.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you're right-handed.
Yeah, that's probably part of the reason too, is I feel like a dummy trying to clip it with.
Okay. So, Brad, been thinking about how to introduce you. Reliant Fitness. You said you weren't a bodybuilding coach. And I try to tell people you're like an online coach, and that's a new thing, right? You're a Cal Fire slash coach, like not even fitness coach, not just you're a nutritionist. You're the lifting, the calisthenics. You're just a coach.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really specify in any, I mean, the one thing that I would say that everybody gets universally taught in my program is the nutrition base. I mean, as far as the training goes though, the clients come through and it depends on what they're looking to do. You know, I pride myself on functional fitness, you know, very athletic driven style fitness. Do I like lifting weights and participating in some bodybuilding aspects? Yeah. But I lean more towards the functionality side, like being able to move, being capable, you know, being, you know, I like to call it being a weapon on all fronts, you know, like we kind of talked about in the gym, like being able to lift, being able to run, being able to hike, being able to move, you know what I mean? So, but certain people come to me for certain things, and I'll try my best to reflect that in their training program, in their scheduled workouts.
And you're a coach now. If people don't know your story, you started as a Cal Fire guy, but take me back before that. Like, where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Orange County, California. Spent almost my whole life down there. You know, I was born in Newport Beach, and then I moved up to San Luis when I was like 26, 27. I went to El Toro High School, went to Irvine Valley College, Concordia University for like a year. Had a good family. You know, my dad owned his own company. My mom was like a stay-at-home mom. I have a younger brother. So like typical, you know, everyday family, you know what I mean? Like, and then, I don't know. My first real job was working as a mechanic. So I worked as a mechanic for, I'd say about 11 years in total. And then I kind of and I did some other stuff in between. I kind of bounced in and out, you know, with certain construction jobs, underground, you know, working for some of those big pipeline companies and stuff. But then I went back to working as a mechanic when I moved up here. And then I transitioned to the fire service, like when I turned 30. I don't know. It was like obviously something I wanted to pursue even as like a kid. You know, who doesn't want to be a firefighter like when they're a kid at some point? You know what I mean? Like they see the fire engine, if you see the dudes, and like, I want to be a firefighter. So it's like, I don't know what hit me, but when I turned 30, I'm like, I'm going to go into the fire service, you know? So I basically developed a plan to get everything I needed in order, you know, my EMT, a fire academy, all the necessary training because of my past, you know, like being heavily tattooed, and two, having like a little bit of a criminal record. I got 2 DUIs. I've been arrested a couple of times for violence and stuff like that, fighting. So a lot of people were like, oh, well, there's no way. And I'm like, yeah, there is. Yeah. I'll find a way. And I found a way. I got involved, you know, with Cal Fire and been working with them for like the past 3 years as a firefighter. And then also here in San Luis Obispo County as a reserve firefighter, which is basically part-time.
Did someone take a chance on you? Did they know your background? Like what was?
So I would say that like my first position, yeah, they kind of took a chance on me. You know, he's like, you know, typically with your background and everything like that, we wouldn't really lean towards you. But that's the main reason why I went so hard at the training aspect, like getting my EMT, going to fire academy, is I basically had to make myself undeniable. You know what I mean? Like all these things that would normally like push me away, be like, oh, well, he's tattooed. He's got 2 DUIs. He has prior violent offenses on his record. Like, then I had to like basically make up for that with training, certifications, and like the willingness to basically do the shit that most people wouldn't do. You know what I mean? So I basically had to work like 4 times as hard for a very basic beginning position.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, it was like a big stepping stone into where I'm at now, because I had to be disciplined. I had to be on my best behavior. I had to start like living right, because that was a major kicker for me with the fire service. Is getting into the fire service was basically me severing ties with like everything that I used to do on a regular basis. Like go out and be a fucking knucklehead, you know, like get in fights, get arrested, do dumb shit, fucking rob people. Like it was like, okay, this is my I'm fucking done move. But instead of just saying like I'm done, like I'm doing something that's going to make me toe the line and like actually live it, because I can't live like this and have this job. So that for me was basically the, you know, the first level up.
Yeah. And where that discipline, like it was in you. You were doing 11 years of being a mechanic,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have this drive to become a firefighter. That's when people were telling you like, oh, you can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, was there something holding you back? Because you said you had the DUIs, like what was holding you back? Like what was making you make those bad decisions, but then you still were driven? Like that's rare.
Yeah. I'd say it was just like the way that I was living before, like, you know, obviously the party life, fast life, that to me, like, that was normal. You know what I mean? Like from the time I was like in high school, you know, the people I hung out with, the things that we did on the weekends, like that was just life, you know, going out, getting drunk, getting in fights, doing dumb shit. And like, I finally like woke up one day and I'm like, this isn't like, we're not supposed to live like this. You know what I mean? And I've always been like a very disciplined person. And I attribute it to playing sports most of my life, is like having that structure and that discipline for a reason, you know? But like, it took me, like I faded out of it for a while because I went away from sports. Yeah. You know, I went towards all the shit that, you know, we go through as young adults, you know, but like some people do it for a short period of time. Some people make a life out of it, and some people get stuck in it forever. And fortunately, like I kind of had a wake up call. A couple of things happened, you know, where I'm like, okay, like I'm not dead and I'm not in prison. Like there's a reason I'm still here. Like I need to fucking wise the fuck up. And for me, that kind of came like after an incident that happened up here, you know, got arrested, was looking at a couple years. And it just fortunately fell the other way. You know, I dodged the gavel, so to speak. And then I was like, kind of like, okay, like time to turn it around, because I've gotten lucky like a few too many times. And the next time I do something stupid, I might not be as lucky, and I'll actually go down for something that I did. You know what I mean? So that was like, basically kind of, I had this weird, I don't know what you want to call it, awakening, you know, like stop being a fucking idiot. You know, like you have good characteristics, you have good traits. Stop choosing to be a knucklehead just because that's what your habits are right now, you know? So.
And were you at that time, were you active? Like, were you working out the same way you were working out now? Like,
I mean, I was working out, but I wasn't like driven. You know what I mean? Like I would go to the gym a couple of days out of the week. I would throw some weights around, but there was no regiment to it. There was no rhyme or reason. I was just kind of doing the same shit that I've always done. You know what I mean? So the results, you know, weren't really there. I mean, I was still strong and I was still physically capable. And I mean, in the better sense of the term, like in better shape than most people, but I was not like in shape by any means. Nowhere near to where I am now.
And you were already in you were already in the fire department when you talked about your physical shape then.
So I was getting into the fire service. Okay. I mean, I had been lifting, working out, you know, like actively working out since I was like 17. But like when I wanted to get into the fire service, I was like, okay, I need to actually start like training, you know, like hitting weights, like, you know, really working at something, like having a goal, you know what I mean? Versus just like going to the gym, you know, like, so, okay, I'm going to run, you know, I gotta train myself to run like a 5K in less than 27 minutes or I got to be able to do this many pull-ups and push-ups. Like having a physical standard for a lot of these fire academies and a lot of these jobs, I'm like, okay, well, I have to not only meet that requirement, but I have to blow it out of the fucking water. Yeah. Because I'm tattooed, I have a criminal record, and I'm trying to get a job that most people are going to look at me and be like, yeah, fucking right. you know, like, so like back to that point of like making myself undeniable, you know, like if I'm going to show up and do a physical test or do an interview, I had to like really fucking bring it for them to like be like, oh fuck, this dude's serious, like he's about it. And that was just basically the start of it. And then it just compounded into more and more things. And now, you know, went from being a firefighter, you know, trying to just have a good career and live a good life, to like getting into the coaching aspect, like being able to really teach people and share a story of something that, you know, like, you know, no matter what your past looks like, you know, like whatever happened or what you did, like you still have the opportunity to turn shit around and have a fucking amazing life, you know, because a lot of people, I mean, myself included, like, you know, looking back at like the shit that I used to do and how I used to live, it's like, I'm surprised I'm not dead or in prison. You know, I know a lot of people that are dead or in prison for doing a lot less than I've gotten away with, you know, and I've just been fortunate, you know, and like I said, there's a reason why why either one of those things haven't happened to me. And I finally think I stepped into that space kind of.
So you're a pretty goal orientated guy. From talking to you for at least 2 hours now, you made the goal of getting in, right? Get into the fire department. You get in.
Mm-hmm.
What's your first fire like?
That's amazing, dude. I mean, it's like, it's like everything you want, right? Like, you know, like, and that's the thing that is so funny. Some people are like, well, you actually want to like go fight fire? I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, I mean, it's like the same thing when like, you know, all the young kids go to boot camp and then they get to like go to war, you know, it's like, this is what I trained for. This is what I want to do. You know, like I wanted to be tested, you know, and that's like the test, you know, it's a physical and mental test of like everything that you've been taught, you know, like, are you going to perform, or are you going to be like, oh shit, like, you know, like, and don't get me wrong, like there's very much that too, like where you're like, oh fuck, this is actually happening, like, you know, but it's awesome, man. It's a cool feeling, you know, to like take something that you've prepared for, trained for, hoped for, and then it actually happens, you know, and then you like do well at it, you know.
Do you remember your first fire?
I remember, I think my very first fire, I remember it was it was like a grass fire, like a vegetation fire, not that far from here, actually. We were training in the afternoon. It was probably like 11 or 12, and it was hot. It was hot. It was like 105, and we were in full turnouts, pulling hose, doing drills.
A turnout is
full bunker gear, SCBA, everything, like running structure drills. So, and then, you know, we see like we're in this parking lot, and I see, you know, load and hose in the engine, and I look over and I see this black column coming up over the hillside, and I'm like, oh fuck, there's a fire. And of course we get sent on it, and it's a grass fire that's like burning in like an orchard, you know, bumping up on a couple houses and stuff like that. And it was just super exhilarating, you know, like popping out of the engine, you got like flames licking up on the side. Like it was cool. It was super cool. Like run, you know, I just remember like the dynamic between a wildland fire and a structure fire is pretty different as far as like pace moving goes. I just remember like having like gear on and like running between the houses and laying hose on the ground and like trying to do a million things at once, and it feels like you're moving at 200 miles an hour, and it's like you're actually just like slowly kind of like calculated movements. But
is it, you said there's a difference between structure fire and then the land fire?
Yeah.
Is it because you're moving like as you're putting it out, or is it?
It's, well, I mean, typically, I mean, don't get me wrong, firefighting is very dynamic. The situation can change like that in an instant, but like house fire, like structure fire, it's usually like the house is the fuel source, right? So a house is static. It's not going anywhere. But you get it in like grass and trees and vegetation, you throw wind in the mix, like that, it can run, you know, like 1 second it's going that way, the other second it's blowing that way, you know, like it's a different ball game as far as how quickly shit can go sideways, you know what I mean? But yeah, so basically we were assigned to a structure protection, trying to save these two houses that the fire was bumping up on. And fortunately we were able to save the homes. They didn't burn down. I think they only lost like a chicken coop, which is like pretty minimal. And it burned up, I don't know, 15, 20 acres in a vineyard and maybe another 10 or 15 acres on the other side of the road up a hillside. So no catastrophic loss, no life loss. But yeah, that was my first like actual fire, working fire.
Was there, like, I've been through with martial arts and fighting, I've been through an adrenaline dump.
Mm-hmm.
That was your first one? Was there an adrenaline dump where your legs just go?
Yeah. Like, well, I mean, not during the event, but like afterwards, like when we're like rolling up and putting all the equipment and the hose away and stuff like that. And you're just like super smoked, right? Cause you go from like this high to like you said, like an adrenaline dump. Like you put it all out, you know, your emotions, your adrenaline, everything was like sky high. And then now you're just like barely making it. Not to mention we hadn't even had lunch yet. So I was already like running on fumes and like starving. And then it's like, oh fuck, we're going to go fight this fire for like 5 or 6 hours in triple degree weather. And then like get fed way later in the day.
Yeah.
But it's just part of the call, part of the job, man. Like it's cool, man. From being like, you know, working as a firefighter, like full time, that was my full focus. There's a lot of it that I miss. And then there's other aspects where I'm like, this is way better.
Was there any, when you seen that fire, was there any like time that you thought, okay, maybe this is not the right idea?
No, that never crossed my mind. I mean, like there was never a time where I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not cut out for this. You know, like that was never a thought. Like I don't know, call it mindset, call it whatever you want. But I always was like, I'm supposed to be right here, right now.
Yeah. There's this thing that I'm starting to see, like the more people I talk to that are driven and that are doing things, there's something that some people are just crazy. Some people, like there's goals that they set, they want to go get them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know what it is, but there's something clicking in people's brains that are different, that are excelling in different things. And you're similar to everybody else that excelled in different things. You excelled at being a mechanic. You jumped into being a firefighter. And then afterwards, all of a sudden you're doing this coaching thing. Mm-hmm. 3 different things, but you're excelling at them. It's like, there's something going on in that brain that is it's just different. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I mean, my thing is like, I've always been confident, you know what I mean? In my actions and what I was doing. And don't get me wrong. Like there are times where it's like you experience like, you know, doubt. You know, everybody has that self-doubt at some point, but that's the biggest thing, is being able to remove doubt and just believe, you know, like I got this. Why wouldn't I be able to do this? You know, I did everything else leading up to this point. You know, why couldn't I do this? And yeah, I don't know what it is, because there's people that have it and there's people that don't. And it can be taught, but there's some people that I think are just born with it. Yeah. You know, and you know, when they choose to use it in the right areas and the right things, it's life-changing, you know, because that's a big part of why I think I'm so successful in this coaching thing, is because it was like, you know, a lot of people get nervous about putting shit out there, especially on social media. You know, you almost have to create this sense of vulnerability, you know, to really resonate with people and share a story. Like, yeah, anybody can talk about working out and nutrition and stuff like that. But if you really want to generate like a client base and you want to get people like to come to you to like fix their like actual problems, like, because that's what most of this is. Like, as much as we talk about fitness and nutrition, it's almost 100% personal development based. You know what I mean? And it's hard to not have confidence, and it's hard to be doubtful of yourself when you feel good about everything that you're doing. And I think that stems deeply with personal level of performance with fitness and nutrition.
And you're talking about how you're going away from firefighting, and you were doing the coaching thing when you were firefighting. Mm-hmm. Take me to that time when like it clicked in your head that I want to do this? Like because you have a full-time job. It's a job where you need to be focused at all times. Like, when did it click in your head that you wanted to start doing coaching?
So the coaching thing kind of clicked, I'd say about a year ago, like last July. So I started seeing a lot more of the online coaching thing popping up on Instagram, like people saying they're coaches, fitness trainers, whatever. And it got my attention because I used to work as a trainer when I was younger, you know, I had a 24-hour fitness in Orange County. And, you know, when I went to college, I studied kinesiology and sports medicine. So I have like background in that. And with Cal Fire, like I was telling you in the gym, you know, we're not at the firefighter level. We're not paid like great. It's a wage. It's a good, consistent job. But I'd say most of us just at the firefighter level, we're basically surviving off of overtime. Yeah. And recently, these past 2 years, there hasn't been a whole lot of fires, and they've hired considerably more people, which creates less overtime for people. So with me having a kid on the way, I had when my fiance was pregnant with our daughter, I'm like, I need to kind of I need to do something else. I need to add something to the plate because this isn't fucking cutting it. So I saw the coaching thing as an opportunity, as something that I can kind of do on my own agenda. Like, you know, I didn't have to report to a specific location. I didn't necessarily have to answer to anybody, and I could do it at my own pace. You know what I mean? So I basically, you know, was like, okay, I'm going to get in really good shape. I'm going to start trying to do this coaching thing, you know, and just see how it goes. If I make a few $100 a month, like a few extra bucks a month, worth it. You know what I mean?
Was it media based? Were you already thinking, okay, I'm going to jump in front of a camera and I'm going to start doing, like, was that the idea, or was it?
I mean, yes and no.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look back at like my Instagram, like you'll see some of my first videos, and there's like no talking, like no camera time. It's all just workouts and stuff like that, and maybe some meal prep. And I just had to develop a certain level of don't give a fuck to like get on camera and talk, you know what I mean? And that's a big thing that Wes taught me is like, you know, like you're not just a coach, like you're a leader. You know, like you have to lead these people to the things that they want to accomplish. And part of that is not being a fucking pussy on camera. You know, you're sitting there talking about life experience and your story and these things that other people are dealing with, and they want to hear what you have to say and how you dealt with it and how you got through it. So fucking do it. And I'm just like, fuck, all right, God damn it. Like, so, and then obviously just like with anything else, like with working out, with the nutrition aspect, the more you do it, the better you get. Yeah. So now it's just part of my life. It's not like, oh shit, I gotta fucking film something right now. Like I gotta get on camera again. Like it's just something that I do.
So we skipped over something that's important. We skipped over Wes, your mentor.
Yeah.
Tell me about, how did you meet him? How did you get started with him? And how big of an influence has he been?
So I got started with Wes. I'd say the main reason was when like I was telling you in the gym, I came off that knee injury from my buddy's bachelor party, and I wanted to like commit to something that was going to get me back in really good shape. And I had seen, you know, Wes Watson's Instagram. I'd been following him for a little while. I wasn't really listening to any of his stuff, his motivational stuff that people use, but I was seeing his client transformations, you know, like people coming through his fitness program and getting all jacked and ripped and stuff. And there's 2 people that came through on his page that I actually knew personally. Yeah. Like I went to high school with them. So I'm like, well, I know those people. So I know there's no fake shit with it. You know what I mean? So I pulled the trigger and like, you know, reached out to him like, hey, I'm interested. Like, what's it look like? And he shot me like, you know, his breakdowns and this and that. So I committed to his 90-day program, which I'm like, oh, that's a good enough period of time. 90 days, 3 months to really work at something. And, you know, I got in pretty good shape. I had a pretty good transformation in 90 days, but I'd say like the biggest improvements came between that 3-month and 6-month mark, because I was still really finicky with the nutrition, because doing macros and counting calories while you're on duty at the station when someone else is cooking for you it's really fucking hard.
Yeah.
And then even more so when you're out on a fire, like on an assignment, it's fucking impossible. So I was like trying to balance it the best that I could with what I had available. But no, like, so after the fitness thing, you know, his fitness program, I was like, well, you know, I want to get into this coaching gig. Like that was kind of the idea, like get in really good shape, get in the coaching game and just see what I can do. So I worked with him. I got involved in his coaching thing and he kind of taught me, you know, how to market myself, how to put me out there, how to basically develop a brand, you know, through social media. And when I actually met him for the first time was at his first mastermind at his place in San Diego, because he started doing those monthly masterminds and I just immediately saw like value in that. You know, I'm like, okay, if I can get around this guy, if I can spend time with him, learn some more stuff from him, like that seems extremely valuable to me. You know what I mean? And then so he like I remember like he posted on his story, like, I'm doing like a New Year's mastermind at my mansion in San Diego. You get to stay here for the weekend. It's Friday, Saturday night. We're going to work out, talk business, do all this and that. And I'm like, I want in. And I like messaged him and I'm like, I want in. And he's like,
if you're halfway through the episode, probably means you're enjoying the content. Do me a favor, subscribe, hit that subscribe button. Take a second out of your day, hit that subscribe button today, and enjoy the rest of the episode. If you're on an audio platform, put a review in after the episode right now if you can. Put a review in, subscribe if you can, subscribe on your audio platform. I love you guys. Enjoy the episode. Peace.
10K at first, and I'm like, holy fuck. You know?
I want out.
And I'm like, all right, I'll do it, you know. And I just like took that leap of faith. Like that's the most money I've ever spent on anything, especially in that nature. You know what I mean?
It's not physical.
No, there's nothing tangible there. Like even my fire academy was like $7,000, $8,000. And like, that's tangible. Like I have physical training. I have certifications that like qualify me for a job. And it's like, hey, come hang out with me for a weekend. And I'm like, all right. But I'm like, I just figured out like I'm going to make it back. This is investing in my business and myself. You know what I mean? Because if I can get around someone who's like killing this fucking game, and it worked out perfectly because like what I wanted to accomplish was basically now people go, you and Wes. So they see me or they see Wes and they think, you know, oh, those dudes work together. They run the same gig. They have the same thing going on, which is like a dream come true. Cause like, I mean, yeah, I'm in the same space, but to like have that level of attention and get it in such a short period of time, like it couldn't have gone better. But I took a calculated risk, and I had to execute in order to make it happen. You know, and as much as I may have paid to go and hang out with him, you know, and learn from him, like I still very much like earned his attention because he recognized that I was a performer and I executed and I did everything that he fucking told me to do. You know, there's a lot of people that come through his program and don't succeed because they either gas out or they have too much self-doubt or they don't know how to follow the plan. They don't know how to apply it to their life. And they're just in and out. They wash out. But I've, you know, since I've teamed up with Wes and since I've been like really hitting on it, I've been progressively growing more and more and more and more. Whether it's my Instagram following, whether it's my client base, the strength of my business, everything has been going up, 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 up. Huge. I went from making, you know, my first month coaching, I think I made like $800. And then this last month I made just over 60K in a matter of 8 months.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Like I come from the martial arts world, and how hard it is to find a not just a clientele, but a clientele that's going to be coming back routinely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's only been how long? Six months?
8 months, realistically speaking. Yeah.
Yeah. You're built different, man. No, you are. Like, it just, I like just hearing you talk. I hear somebody that's sees a challenge and wants it. Like you looked at a fire and said, I want to go do that. That's different, right? Like you've seen this guy, this mentor, people don't understand, like you need a mentor to move forward.
Totally.
And you've seen that opportunity and you see that opportunity. What was it like telling your fiance at the time, hey, I'm going to spend $10,000 on this?
It was, I felt kind of crazy, asking, obviously, and my chick has always been super supportive of everything that I try to do or want to do. And this is not the first time that I've tried to like invest in my future. You know what I mean? And, fortunately I've always been kind of good with money. I've always been good at saving. I've always had like a nest egg, so to speak. So she's like, well, you got the money, fucking do it, like go for it. You have a chunk of change pushed away, like take a piece out of it and see what you can do with it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool. Like, all right, I'm glad you're on board because I was going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing as like you said with the fire thing is you see a fight, you see a challenge, and you just know that you have a spot in it. Yeah. And I was like, I can fucking do this. I can break into this fucking space and do something with it. Because I'm not afraid. I just need to learn how to do it right. And that was like where I fucked up for so long in the mechanic world is I never went out and got certified. I never went to any sort of training course. Everything I had was like on the job training. I started as a fucking 20-year-old kid in a garage surrounded by a bunch of men that were working on cars longer than I've been alive, and I was basically making like $3 an hour as an apprentice, grinding, trying to fucking figure out how I'm going to afford tools and food and gas and everything to survive. And I fucking made it work. So it's like, if I could fucking make it through that, like that apprenticeship and like being a young kid, like fucking sticking it out and turning it into a career and, going from basically the fucking bottom of the barrel to, I was a damn good mechanic, and, that was all, I had mentors, so to speak, but I fought for it. I earned it. You know what I mean? And it's like, if I could take that same tenacity, that same drive and put it into an area where I can actually, make a big impact and make a lot of fucking money, why the fuck not?
Yeah. And when you came back from the mastermind, was there any setbacks? Like when going after something you want, which I do, doing this is something that is crazy to me because I'm traveling, going places. You're going after it.
Yeah.
And you're trying to start your brand. You're trying to start your brand. What were your setbacks in the beginning?
It was just a lot of trial and error, like seeing what worked, seeing what didn't, because the hardest part when you're getting started is obviously getting people to trust you and believe in you, to basically someone that is a complete stranger on social media to be like, hey, give me a couple $100 and I'm going to basically build you a workout plan and a diet to follow. And I want you to see it through. You know what I mean? So obviously that's kind of hard. You're like, fuck, am I like overcharging, undercharging? Am I giving, am I delivering all the right things? That little bit of self-doubt kicks in, but it's like, I basically just had to become undeniable again, like build a foolproof program and be like, look, everything that I went through in order to get to where I'm at, I've laid out for them in the best, most clear, defined way possible. Like if anybody comes on my program and follows everything that I put out for them, the workouts, the nutrition, the daily little task habits, to help kind of build that discipline and build that positive mindset. Like if you hit the marks that I put out for you and you just compound it with time, you follow through with 90 days or 6 months or even, you want to commit to a year, like there is no reason why you won't see massive changes in physique and mentality. Yeah. Like I basically took every bit of shit that I went through in like a year and was like, here's all the answers. Eat this, hit these lifts this many times a day, do these little things every single day, whether it's journaling or visualizing or, you know, just this little like mental checklist, and do that, you know, commit to it, like make it your fucking life. Like your life will change. Something will click along the way. And I get it now. Like I get a lot of clients that call me and they're in their second or third month and they're like, bro, my life is different now. like I don't, it's, you know, I used to like not give a fuck, you know, I kind of slow rolled the first month, but now it's like something clicked, man. And like, I just feel fucking amazing. Like I feel like I can do anything. Like my confidence is up. I feel great. I like, they're like, thank you. You know, and it's like, yeah, that's what this is about, bro. Like I could give a fuck about the money. Like obviously the money is great. Like I'm not complaining by any means, but it's like, you have to put the money on the back end and actually deliver an elite service that helps people change their life. Because a lot of people, yeah, they come through and they want to get jacked. They want to get ripped. Cool. I can do that. But the people who are like, I need to fucking change. Like something inside me needs to fucking change. Like I need to kill the old person that I used to be and become somebody new. Like that's what this did for me. So it's like, I can transcribe that for somebody else going through that. You know, I just had a conversation with one of my clients and he's in fucking New Zealand. He's on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
You know, and he's going through that right now. He's like, you know, like I'm about a month in and like right on the edge of like, you know, like really having like a breakthrough, or like, do I go back and kick it with my old friends and drink beers and smoke blunts on the beach? I'm like, bro, I know it's hard. I know it's fucking hard. You almost have to go into like a sense of solitude for a while, because I mean, I had those friends too. I still have them. I love them. Sure. But I mean, I ain't about that life anymore. I got shit going on. I got people to provide for, and there's no room in my life for that. And and he's the same way, you know, he's like, you know, it's all or nothing, you know, and that's why I was like the worst alcoholic. Is it was never just one or two beers. Like if I'm drinking, like I'm drinking fucking everything in sight. Like, you know, that Dave Chappelle skit, like I'm going to get white man wasted. Like I'm drinking vodka, tequila, beer, everything. That was me. Like anything in sight, it's going down, you know? So there is no half speed. There is no like two beers at a kickback and it's fucking no alcohol or shit face blackout drunk, you know? So I had to make that level of separation in my life where it's like, I don't want it anymore. Like, I don't want it to have power over me. So once I got to a point with my level of fitness and nutrition, I felt like I could control that. Like it didn't come calling me every fucking Thursday and Friday, like, oh, weekend's here, time to go get fucked up. Like, it's like, no, stay on point, get up early, eat right, go train, you know, and you do that for long enough. And then it's like, I feel so good right now. I feel like I'm right on fucking point with everything. Like, I don't even want to slow down. Like, I don't want to risk the clarity that I have right now going out the window for a couple hours of like, oh yeah, that was fun. Like, fuck fun.
Yeah. So I come from a coaching background. I coached for 3 years. It's a lot. You're dealing. I was going to say you deal with people's mess. You deal with people's mess. They're looking to you to fix them.
For sure.
How do you deal with living your life, keeping your cup full, and not empty it into all these, like, sounds like you have a lot of clientele, and that's a lot of people you're trying to fix.
I have over 200 clients.
That's a lot of people you're trying to fix.
It ranges though. Yeah. I mean, dude, because there's people that come to me and they somewhat require a lot of attention, and there's other people where I just give them the plan and I don't hear from them at all. Yeah. Like it'll be a check-in, once in a while, and then I have other people that talk to me like once a day. It's just people range in that level of communication and attention they need or seek. And I actually enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, in a weird way, like I'll be in a fucking shit mood. Like, it even happened today. I was like, I got a text from my kid's mom and it just like set me off. I'm like, fuck this bitch. Fucking like, like I was like all worked up, and then I got a call from like a client, like, and like talked them over through some stuff, like dealing with some shit, and like it just like completely removed all of my own bullshit. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I find peace in basically helping other people find theirs, you know? And it was never something I thought that I would do or be good at, you know what I mean? But it's weird. It's a weird thing, you know. For some reason, I have a good way of transcribing it and being able to help people, you know, talk them off a ledge, so to speak. And I was actually just thinking about this like yesterday or this morning, like, you know, I basically got into the fire service, obviously, because it seems like an awesome job and it's very rewarding and stuff like that. You get to help people. And I got to do that, but never in my mind did I think that I was going to be able to build something or I would be able to help more people. Like I definitely have more of a wider impact and a deeper impact in my coaching business than I ever did as a firefighter, which is like mind blowing to me. You know what I mean? I get people from all over the world that fucking hit me up, that like, whether they're on my program or not. And they're like, bro, you're the reason that I started going to the gym again. You're the reason I started eating healthy again. You know, and now, you know, I've been watching your Instagram now for 2-3 months, and just with what you put on your page that I follow daily, like I'm down like 40 pounds, you know, and I get that shit like constantly. And I'm like, bro, that's so fucking sick. Like, are you kidding me? Like, you haven't paid me a dime. Like, I don't even care about the money, but you've been able to take information.
All right. Yeah. All right. Okay, so I got 2 more questions for you.
Yeah.
Just to wrap things up. Where do you see yourself in? Where do you see this going? Where do you see the brand going? Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I think it's going to be huge, bro. I mean, I joke around with my homies and shit every once in a while, and my goal is to be bigger than Wes. I mean, why the fuck not, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think the biggest compliment a pupil can give their teacher is to outshine their teacher one day, you know. And I don't mean it in spite or in hate, but it's like, you know, if I really wanted to apply myself and work my ass off, like my goal is to be bigger than my mentor. Right. And that dude is massive, you know what I mean? So it's like, why wouldn't I shoot for that level or higher, you know? And I think I have what it takes. You know, I think I can do it. I know I can do it. It's just time, honestly. It's just more time in the game and growing and scaling my business as I continue to grow. So I don't see why I couldn't turn this into a, you know, 7, 8 figure, 9 figure business over the next couple of years. I mean, even with what I've done in like 8 months is outstanding by any standards. You know what I mean? Basically take a $3,000 investment and make a fucking $250,000 off it. Right. You know?
That's awesome, man.
It's fucking madness, bro. Like, who the hell let me in here? You know what
I mean? If you have any advice for, it's kind of weird because like you're already giving people advice. Where does someone start? Like, where can someone get to where you're at?
I mean, in all reality, you just have to go for it. You have to take action. You know, so many people sit and they plan, they wait for the time to be right. They sit there and just like, oh, when I get all my ducks in a line, then I'll make a move. Fuck that. You just got to make a move, dude. The timing is never going to be right. Like when I made this move, like my timing could not have been like worse in a sense. Right. Like I wasn't making that good of money. I was coming off an injury. I spent money to get here. Like I didn't just like fall into it, you know, like I kind of in a sense had my back against the wall, and it was like, do something or die, you know, not die, but I mean like nothing will change if you don't change, you know? So I forced change, you know, and by taking action, you force change. So if you want something to happen, make a move to go get it, you know? Like sitting there talking about it and writing on paper, like, oh, you know, one day I'll do this. No, just do it. Take a step in that direction, and it's going to take a risk. And so many of these people are so afraid to spend money on themselves, but there's one thing that all successful people have in common. And at some point in time, they spent money, they invested in themselves, and they compounded time and hard work, and not into somebody else or something, but themselves. And that's where a lot of people forget, is if you invest in yourself and you invest in your future, you can't really go wrong. Everybody wants to do fucking Bitcoin or fucking all this stupid shit that's cool. Yeah. You could strike it, you could, but if you do something, if you make a move to legitimately better your life, your person, there is no losing in that field, and I think fitness and nutrition has a lot to do with seeing that level up, providing a level of clarity to really seeing oh shit, this is possible. I can do that. There's that crazy statistic, only, what is it? A handful of people are millionaires, but 1 in every 100,000 people have a 6-pack or something like that. So it's if you have the discipline and the consistency to get a 6-pack or get fit, get ripped, what's stopping you from making a couple $1 million?
Yeah.
And the answer is nothing. It's just putting that same energy and drive and consistency into a field that ideally you're passionate about. I think anything that you're passionate about is going to take you far. Don't be in it for the money. Put money on the back burner. If your intentions are right, the universe will provide. That
answer from that question is probably the clearest answer you've given. You're set. You have this mindset that's just go, 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 go. And I'm still trying to figure out, the whole purpose of me doing this podcast is trying to figure out what's different from the average Joe and someone going all in on something. And there's that drive. It's a lot.
You have to have drive, and I've always been driven, fortunately. I just for a long time was driving in the wrong direction. You know what I mean? But yeah, you got to have drive. You have to have that you hear it these days, Goggins, you have to have that dog in you. Yeah. And some people just have it and some people don't, and some people learn to find it. I think at the end of the day, we all have it somewhere at some degree. You just have to dig down deep and see where the fuck it's at. Because there's, like I said, there's people on my program that have come through and, they were leading a worthless life. They didn't think they amounted to much, or they had all this doubt and pity and misery and depression and anxiety. And, you get them on a regiment, you basically line out their life for them for a couple of months, and then something clicks and they're like, holy fuck, dude, you changed my goddamn life. And it's shit, yeah, it's awesome, isn't it? They through that level of discipline and consistency, you discover drive, and I think it's very important, because with drive, with discipline, with consistency, you can do anything.
Fuck yeah. Where do people find you? Where do people get that? Where do people can find that? Right? Where do you? What's your Instagram?
So my Instagram is at reliant.fitness. My YouTube's at reliant.fitness. TikTok's reliant.fit. Instagram's the best place to find me. That's probably my most powerful platform as far as presence. So hit me on Instagram. I always message my people back.
Yeah, you messaged me right away, and I was like, okay. It just seemed like this whole entire trip, everybody I hit up, it was just it. They hit me up right away, and it was meant to be.
Yeah.
I think I really needed this.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you said yes, and I appreciate it, man.
My pleasure, bro. That's what it's about. Same thing I was telling you earlier. You'll never know unless you take a shot at it. And like you said, it all just kind of fell into place, and it just came to fruition. When shit's meant to be, it just falls into place. And I feel the same way with my coaching thing. It came I mean, don't get me wrong, it's like 15 years of hard work on the back burner in different areas, but like it's just that same energy, that same drive put into the right place, and it's just like bam, 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 bam. Like it just came so fucking easy.
Yeah. Cool. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Amazing story, guys. Amazing story. Hopefully I could follow up with Brad and see how he's doing and where his journey's taking him, maybe a few years from now. But yeah, Cal Fire to online coaching. Who would have thought? Taking a chance. $10,000. This Wes Watson world is insane to me, guys. It's different, right? I never thought online coaching would make you that much money, right? And then for people to spend $10,000 to go to his mansion or go to his yacht or wherever. He literally posted today a picture of him on his yacht, and Wes Watson, I'm saying, not Brad, Wes Watson. He takes a selfie and he's working from the yacht today. What? So I'm going to be interviewing, trying to find other people that are under Wes Watson that did this mastermind thing and see where it goes. So far, the people I've seen, Brad is like the top guy right now. One of the top guys. And he's doing great things. So, I don't know. Thank you guys for listening. If you guys enjoyed the content and want more content, subscribe now. There's a bunch of episodes. If you're new to this podcast, there's a bunch of episodes of different interviews of me and Raquel going through marriage and life and all that stuff. Subscribe today, guys. And thank you for watching. And stay tuned for the recap episodes and the next interview. I love you guys. Have a great day. Have a great week. Peace.